Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble Women's Show on a Monday evening, live on YouTube. My name's Brian. I'm the host tonight, and I'm joined, as usual, by Wilf, Car, and Laura. How are we doing, folks? Lots of happy, smiley faces.
Very good.
Very good, very good.
Even Brian, long time no see.
Long time no speak, yes. So, hello, everybody in the chat. Nice to have you along. Scott McDonald and Alan Reynolds, a new member. So, welcome along, guys. Laura, you were at the game. How was the feeling going into the game before, getting to the ground, and what was the chat in the stand? Was everybody reasonably confident?
I think everybody was kind of confident apart from me. I had actually says to them, is it no full time yet? Because I just wanted it on and done with. But once it was full time, I was definitely in a much better frame of mind.
Yeah. Car, like me, you were watching it on a stream. It was one of the few games that I've not sort of been worried towards the end, because we were reasonably on top for that whole second half, and barring maybe one or two sort of through balls, there wasn't much else for the defence to do, and it was a nice sort of easy win for us in the end. It wasn't one of those ones where we're backs to the walls and defending, anywhere and everywhere.
No, it was definitely the Joe Potter effect, as I'm going to now refer to it as. That she's definitely got a lot of belief in this squad that they can go on and win games where realistically last season our heads would have gone down. We probably would have settled for the draw. So very happy with that. And even the defence in the first half wasn't particularly great. We'll come on to talk about that. But in the second half, they all really pulled their weight. Kathy was flying into tackles and nearly going on runs herself. And they were all just really chipping in and making sure that we got the win. So it was just an incredible second half. Absolutely deserved the win.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And Wolf, the resilience of the women to come back from a goal down, I think certainly last season and seasons before that might not have happened.
No, you're right. It probably wouldn't have happened last season. But I mean, for me, the difference is that Joe Potter knows how to influence the game, how to change the game. I mean, she said something at half time that must have worked, because the first half was dreadful, and the second half we were all over them like a cheap suit. The substitutions worked. We go on about it every week. Joe's substitutions they're not just for the sake of making changes. They actually do influence the game, so that helped. That helped as well. And to be perfectly honest, I wasn't, even after they scored, I wasn't particularly concerned about them scoring again, because I didn't think Celtic offered very much other than set plays. We lost the goal off a corner, and we gave away a couple of kind of long range free kicks that were always a worry. But what I mean. I know we'll get into the game, we'll sort of go through it chronologically, but I mean, they panicked with about 15 minutes to go when they stuck their centre half to centre forward. That's the sort of thing you do in the last 5 minutes of a cup tie if you're up against it. Not in October in a league game. You know what I mean? So, to be honest, they got what they deserved doing stuff like that. That's like throwing your goalkeeper up for a corner in a league game for me. You know what I mean? Because they did. I mean, they put that Hayes woman, whatever her name is, I don't even know what her first, her that scored their goal, right? They stuck her up top and just started throwing balls at her, hoping they would stick. And they were never going to, because she's not got the guile to be a centre forward, or she'd be a centre forward. You know what I mean? For me, they panicked, and that played right into our hands, because we kept playing football, made loads and loads of good chances. Not loads, we made a few good chances, 2 absolutely excellent goals. I mean, the goals were really, really good. We had lots of good individual performances. Them not so much. I mean, Carl was saying before we came on, their fans are raging good. Because I think they were beginning to think they were invincible, they were unbeatable, because they won 10 out of 10. They hadn't played anybody. I mean, they come up against a decent team, and they get their arse handed to them. That's it. You know what I mean? Onwards and upwards.
Absolutely. And the starting 11 that started on yesterday was Fife in goals, with Docherty, McLaughlin and Hill in the defence. We then had Macaulay, McLean, Cornett and Hay in the midfield. And up front we had Bell, Howitt and Hardy. Was there any surprises in that starting lineup, Laura, for you, or was it pretty much what you thought?
I think it was pretty much what we thought. I think the biggest surprise was Rachel Rowe being omitted for the actual match day squad, because I think you had spoke about it, and Kat and I spoke about it on our podcast, that we were expecting her to be the one that was kind of going to pull it, have a big kind of say in that game, but then she wasn't even in the match day squad. But we've obviously got such strength and depth in the squad that anybody can come in and claim a shirt. And I think Megan came in, did a good job. Then obviously she went off at half time because she got like a bit of a kick in the face, had got a bit of a nasty injury. And then Libby Bands came in and did absolutely fantastic. So we've got such strength and depth, it doesn't even matter who we put out. Everybody's going to perform because that's just the way Joe's got us playing now.
Yeah. For you, Carp, what was the issue in the first half? I mean, to have two contrasting halves, in the same game is very unusual. I mean, you maybe peak a little bit better in the second half, but the difference from the first to the second was quite stark, wasn't it?
It was. I think in the first half we gave away a couple of balls like fairly close to the box. Any one of note, Jenna. Again, a couple of short passes that didn't get to where it needed to go, and just one kind of lacked bit of defending from a corner, and we just seemed to not quite be at it. But as well said, whatever she said at half time really got them going, and they just came out and looked like a completely different team. And I don't know if it was Libby Bants that maybe came on in that midfield and just kind of shored it up, and then obviously Jodie came on later on and she did really good in that wing. So I think everybody kind of thought that they needed to do it. There was no you couldn't lose that game, and I think they all just thought we have to do this now, and it just shows what they can do, and they go at it and they want it. So just need to keep doing that every game, not just half a games now. We need to do that consistently, and we'll rob this league.
Yeah, I think Wolf, after the first half, you were kind of hoping it wasn't Groundhog Day again, where we don't play very well, and Celtic were there, as you could say, for the taking, and we don't take advantage. That was my sort of fear after watching or listening to the first half. It was one of those games we could have. I wouldn't say we should have scored in the first half, but it was one of those ones where you were scared that they weren't playing well. We could have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not so much of a worry. Last season it did been a worry for me, but not so much this season, because as Laura touched on, we've got strength and depth now that we've got a lot of good players on the bench. I mean, you bring on Libby Banks. She was unlucky not to be starting the game. She comes on at half time, and the team certainly didn't dip any. And Jo seems to have it well worked out that she plays one of the youngsters on the wing for an hour and then brings another one on for the next half an hour. She's not overplaying them, and the qualities are similar, so they're not. It's not really affecting the way we play. She'll have Mia start the game and bringing on Jodie, or Jodie start the game bringing on Mia. Brogan's back now, so she can do the same with Brogan, who, by the way, 100th competitive appearance for us yesterday. That's fantastic. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. And also, I noticed tonight they put some photos up of the women going through the museum, and I noticed that Brogan had the kids' Broxy tour thing from the museum in her hand. I thought that was quite funny. I would have expected Jodie or any or somebody to have that, just for the laughs on the photos, but it seemed to be Brogan that had that. I thought that was quite good. But because I'm sure she'll take a ribbon for that, but I'm sure that's all part of the kind of the team banter that they've got. But I mean, touching on something that that Laura said about Megan Bell getting a kick in the face. I don't know. Well, Laura, you certainly wouldn't have heard it because you were at the game. Unfortunately, I wasn't, and I was watching it on Sky. But do you know that former Scotland international captain wasn't sure there was contact when she got kicked in the face, which is absolutely incredible. And
everybody in that ground could see she got kicked in the face.
And then it showed you the close up, and they said, "Oh, there's Megan Bell showing the scars of the challenge. Got a stud mark under her eye."
Yeah.
Julie Fleeton said, "Not sure there was contact." Unbelievable. You know what I mean? That's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? But that's just a side point. I just wanted to get that out there. I just thought that was absolutely ridiculous. But no, Brian, to your point, once the second half started, I thought we were all over them. They scored against them. As I said earlier, they didn't look threatening at all, other than from set pieces. And when they scored off the first one, yes, I was a bit concerned if they got more that they would try the same again. And it wouldn't be the first time that a Rangers team's not learnt from their mistakes and conceded exactly the same goal. I mean, it's happened for years, but it didn't happen. So, and then once we equalised, it was only ever going to be one winner from that game.
Yeah, definitely. You said earlier, Laura, obviously Rachel Rowe was injured. Do you know any reason or?
No, because as I say, we thought that she would be playing, but I think she has had a knock, obviously, this season. So whether they're just like kind of protecting her and letting other players play, because she's been called up for the Welsh international team again. So whether she just kind of said like, I'll just rest, and then they've got the UEFA Nations League games or whatever. But I don't know. I think it was just maybe just rested her because she has been injured this season.
Yeah, maybe. So of course, set piece comes up, Laura. You kind of, every time a corner or free kicks around the box, you kind of hold your breath, and it was like deja vu. We've seen that goal many a time. Same player scores. Just, I don't know what to make of these set pieces just now.
Well, we'd spoke to the majority of the players after the game, and they were all saying that they were raging that they conceded for a corner again because they'd actually worked on it a lot this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, you could see that they had, because the first half, Jenna was really, for a change, actually dealing with them really well, getting kind of like first to the ball, getting them away. So I think it was just one of the things. If they're going to keep giving them corners, they're eventually going to stick one away. And it's Caitlin Hayes does always kind of get on the end of them for Celtic. It's pretty much the only thing Celtic have got going for them is they can take a set piece, they can get Hayes on the end of it, and she tends to score. But other than that, they never had much to offer. So they're obviously working on the set pieces for the kind of scoring side, and we're obviously trying to defend it. But as the players had said, she's that tall and hard to kind of mark. So she kind of pushed Kathy out the way and obviously got her head on the end of the ball. But after they even scored, we were all just kind of looking like, that's all they've got. So just didn't give them corners and we can win this.
Yeah, totally agree. And Carr, it didn't take much time between the goals. I think it was Rachel that got the ball in midfield, gave it to Kirsty. Kirsty in the box, cut it inside, and the coolest player in the park, Kirsty McLean, had the foresight to sort of control it, not just sort of rush it, controlled it, and then just passed it into the bottom corner. It was a marvellous goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it live, like from the stream, and I thought, I mean, their keeper really should have done better there. But having watched it back about 12 times now, she's actually done like magnificently there to control that, to stop the ball, and then just slot it where it needs to go. But Kirsty Howitt does really well to get the ball into Kirsty McLean to then slot that home. And from then, you could see they all just like ran back. They celebrated a little bit, but they all just ran back. Let's get more here. Like, we know we can do this. Come on, let's just get going again. It was none of this, let's savor the moment until we finally won it. And then they got to have their moment to enjoy it. So it's just class. She's so good. I think she's probably the best midfielder in Scotland. Playing in Scotland. I'll rephrase that, because there's certainly Scottish players in England that are probably a bit better, but she's definitely up there as being one of the best midfielders we've got, and probably the whole of Scotland's got.
Brian, I think you did Rachel McLaughlin a bit of a disservice saying that she got the ball in midfield and played the ball to Kirsty Howitt. That was a great run forward by Rachel McLaughlin, before she played the ball to Kirsty. And then, I mean, it was a great team goal, because I mean, Rachel, strode forward with the ball and then didn't panic when there was challenges coming in. Gave the ball to Kirsty Howitt, and as Carl says, she did brilliant to get the ball to any who just, cool as you like, into the corner. 1-1, and as I said, there's only going to be one winner from there, isn't there?
Yeah. Carl, going back to your point there, I think it would have definitely not happened last year, but this year I think is the Joe Potter effect, as you like to call it. After they scored, there was maybe a little 2-second celebration, but then they switched on again and went straight back to the centre circle, and they wanted to get the game going again straight away, didn't they?
Yeah, and you could see Nick as well. Like, a lot of them were kind of hugging each other and that, and you could see Nick run up, and she's giving her commands, saying this is what we've got to do, and then they all just run back and get going again. And I think that's definitely what they need. They need that kind of leadership to just be like, right, we need to go and win this first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think last season we got a bit of ahead of ourselves at points and thought that we'd already done it before we'd done it. And I think that kind of held us back a bit. So I like that we've got that calmness now to just settle down, go and win it, and now you can go and enjoy yourself. And it's class. It's so good that we've got that leadership there from Joe and Nick, and from the rest of them, Kathy, everybody else that's in there doing the same thing. It's so good.
Yeah. on thoughts on the captain, Laura. The change was was, I wouldn't say it was controversial, but you know, it was an unusual change. We weren't sort of expecting it. How do you feel Nick's sort of stood up to the permanent sort of captaincy role?
I think she's always kind of been the captain, even without having the armband. Really, she's always the loudest player on the pitch, telling everybody what to do, and kind of like she kind of says that they kind of call her bossy, but she knows what she's doing. She's even with the younger players and that, she kind of guides them in that. She's always done that, so it's just kind of a long time coming that she's finally got that armband, obviously on her arm. But I think they kind of have classed it as like a leadership team, where obviously like Nick's the main one, and then there's like Kathy's vice captain, but there's also like Rachel McLaughlin, Jane Ross, Lizzie Arnott, that's kind of in there, kind of supporting. So it's not just like we didn't just have one captain. We've basically got like a full team of them that players didn't need to just go to Nick. They can go to like the other players that are kind of that older figureheads as well. So that it kind of takes the pressure off Jo and lets her do what she's doing, basically.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that, Wilf, isn't it? You know, a whole team of captains, is Laura's saying. You know, there's 3/4 of that team that could easily take the captaincy, and you know they would be fine with it. But it's been a long time sort of coming as that sort of situation, hasn't it?
Yeah, successful teams have always got a lot of captains on the park, to use that expression. I mean, it's okay. Somebody's got to have the armband because that's just the way football works. But I mean, you've got to have leaders. You've got to have leaders all over the park. You've got to have your goalkeeper's got to be quite strong. And I know we've got some issues with Jenna. I mean, again, she gave, as Carl touched on, she gave away a couple of chances early doors in the first half yesterday that were a bit kind of. But I mean, the probably didn't go down too badly with Jo, because Jo said in the past, look, you've got to take risks, and we're trying to build the ball up from the back. So you're going to take risks, and luckily we got away with them. You know, you need somebody at the back that's quite strong that can be a captain. We're lucky we've got at least two, because we've got, you know, we've got Nick, we've got Kathy, and you could probably see, I mean, Rachel McLaughlin probably has got those kind of tendencies as well, although you don't really particularly see it too much. You know, in the midfield, okay, we've got a few young players in midfield, but I mean, Rachel Rose, captain material for me. You know, in the middle of the park, you know, you've got Kirsty Howitt. She's not shy and shouting her head off down up top. So we've got them all over the park, which is what you need, you know, to get the message across. And it looks like under Jo Potter that they've been given license to work it out for themselves. You know, quite often under the previous management, you think, well, are they just doing what they're told, or are they being allowed to express themselves? Are they worried about getting grief, or maybe getting subbed for not following the game plan to the letter? Because in football, you have to be able to work it out on your own. You have to be able to, you know, see this isn't working, or see that is working, and go with it. And there's the more leaders on the park you've got, the more chance that's going to happen. So, I mean, Nick Docherty is captain, Rangers supporter, living the dream. Yeah, I mean, what more do you want from a captain?
No, absolutely. And then the winner, Laura, came just after the 80th minute. Great skill from Lizzie Arnott down the wing. I think did a 2 or 3 step overs, and then possibly the most horrible cross for a goalkeeper. It was in that zone where she either had to make the decision to go early, or if she didn't make that split decision, then she had to stay in her line. And as soon as she decided not to come, there was only going to be one winner when Rio was going for that header, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's just typical Rio. That's just what we've been missing, I think, way like last season and that. But first of all, Lizzie Arnott coming back into the team, like she's been out for so long, to come in and just deliver a cross like that was just absolutely like unreal. She was even just in running up down that wing as if she was like playing every week. You're just like, where does she get that fitness kind of level for? But she's just phenomenal. And then obviously the lovely cross, and Rio just was looking for it. I think Rio was kind of starting to look a bit tired. So as soon as she got that in, that kind of gave her that adrenaline rush to kind of see the rest of the game. But it was just absolutely fantastic, and everybody just got absolutely mental. It was just kind of cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, and I mean, as Laura's just touched on there, the energy levels, excuse me, of Lizzie. I wasn't really, wasn't sure what to expect with Lizzie because she's been out for a long time. But I mean, that was a pinpoint cross. You couldn't have asked a striker's dream, that cross. As I say, she put it into the zone where the goalkeeper was just left and no alternative but to stay on their line, and that was the danger. And I think as Paul's just saying in the comment, Rio and Rowe will have a big difference this season, and Rio is putting in the hard yards, isn't she?
She is, and I think she had to get an end of that. Like, if you watch the behind the goal footage, you can see she runs from quite far, but she sees it coming and then makes the run in so that she's in the right place to just throw herself at it. But that's what Lizzie offers us. And the year we won the title, Lizzie and Jane were instrumental in us winning that because they would always get the ball in the right area for each other. Mm-hmm. Lizzie from corners, there was another one that nearly went in. We were unlucky. I think it was just off the line or just in front of the line that was cleared away from Lizzie again. That's how good she is. And the fact that she's been out for so long, and you wouldn't think it because she's just come back and doing what she normally does, is incredible. I mean, it's a testament to our medical team, I think, that they've got her to that place. So once Jane's back and once Lisa's back and we're all fully fit again, we're going to be unstoppable. But it's just incredible the firepower that we've brought in, and the management having the tactical ability to know where to put them, how to do it, what's best for everyone. It's incredible to watch, and it's a joy to watch again. Last season was a struggle sometimes, so it's nice to have that happiness back surrounding the Rangers.
Yeah, Wolf, that's the sort of first sort of round of fixtures sort of over. I think we've played everybody in the league now once. We've played Glasgow City and drew. We've beat Celtic. Not far off perfection, but we've took points off one of the other two. I think that was paramount in this sort of first round of fixtures. Good start.
It's a good start. I mean, obviously it could have been better. We've dropped some points, but I mean, it's considering that it's a relatively new team. It's certainly a new management team. I think we've done exceptional. I mean, you can't ask for much more. We drew with Glasgow City. Potentially we could have won that game, but you know what I mean. We beat Celtic. I mean, for me, yesterday it was vital that we didn't lose, because we couldn't have them going 5 points clear. Winning was just, as Laura says, the cherry on top of the cake, because that puts us top of the league. They thought they were invincible. You could tell that with the reaction of their manager at the end of the game. Always complaining about some jumping about, screaming and shouting. They honestly thought they just had to turn up to win that game, I think. And not only did they lose it, that's their unbeaten record gone. They're no longer top of the league going into an international break. Now, normally international breaks, we'd be wanting, after a performance like that, we'd be wanting a game this coming weekend instead of it being internationals. But it's quite nice for them to have to suffer for 2 weeks, as opposed to normal us that have to suffer for 2 weeks. So that's quite nice. But I mean, going back to the winning goal, as I mentioned in the phone in on the pod earlier on, when Jim from Kirky mentioned the best striker at the club scoring the winning goal. I mean, the cross from Lizzie, just like you say, put it to the only place the keeper can't go for it. And Rio knows what she's going to do, and she's steaming in. And you need players that are willing to take that risk, because if that ball doesn't come in, she looks to be a bit foolish diving at thin air. But she knows it's coming in, and it was a tremendous goal at any level of football. And it's worthy of winning any game. But that's as we said, as we've said earlier, and we've said in previous pods, that's the advantage we've got now with the strength and depth we've got. I mean, bringing Lizzie off the bench, and to put in crosses like that, it's just last season, with no disrespect, the players that were in the squad, we were weakening the team making substitutions because we didn't have the same quality of player to bring in, and the substitutions were all over the place, and it was partly because of the personnel that we had. But this year, it's quality players we're bringing in that can do things like that, and they know that they're obviously working on stuff. Because how many times do you see a winger throwing in a ball like Lizzie threw in, and there's nobody there, nobody's taking the gamble, But I think it was Carl said, you watch the footage from behind the goal. Rio's come from a long way back, because she knows exactly where that's going. As soon as Lizzie's going down the wing with that, she knows exactly where that's going. She knows exactly when she's putting it in. And it was as close to perfection as you can get for that sort of goal. And it was brilliant, really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Laura, that the both of you and Carl have mentioned before. You know, there's a really nice blend of youth and experience in this team now. Jo's not scared to play the young ones. She's quite happy, full trust in them. I think that's quite. I think that the older players will get the sort of energy off the young ones, if you know what I mean. The buzz and the sort of enthusiasm, and that to me is a great mix experience in youth, isn't it?
Yeah, I think she's came in and basically everybody's just bought into whatever she said as soon as she came in the door. And I think she'd said on another podcast about she couldn't believe the amount of talent that we actually had. Like usually you come in and there's like one good young player and you're like, right, I'll maybe bring them through. But she's got like the best academy in Scotland at her fingertips and she's known how to use it. And it's probably there's not been many young players she's maybe worked with much before, but she's got so many and she clearly trusts them because obviously Mia McCauley's got an extension to her contract already after only signing it in the summer. So it just shows like how good they are and she knows how good they are that she's obviously going to get them signed up longer term because people are going to be watching all these young players that they can maybe get for cheap, but we can't just let them go like obviously we did with kind of Emma Watson. So she knows what she's got, and with the experience we've got with like the Nicks and Tess and that, it's just going to bring on the young players even more because with their kind of guidance and that, it's just she seems to have all the ingredients for like the perfect kind of recipe and that. And it's just a joy to watch.
Yeah. As you said earlier, Car, it's nice going to games now and watching good football.
It is, and it's just nice to know that like we could always probably pick the team last season and be bang on every week because it was always the same players getting picked. And now I think we argue most weeks with no, Mia should play, no, Brogan should play, no, it should be Jodie, or no, it should be Tess, no, it should be Chelsea. It's always, well, I mean, for me, it's always it should be Vic. But I will say my criticism of Jenna, it's warranted at times, but I think she did have a fairly good game towards the end of the game. And Jo's obviously trusting her with whatever she's being taught now by the new goalkeeping coach. So maybe one day I'll give her some praise for a full game and want her to be picked, but we'll see. But I'm just honestly just so buzzing. It's so nice to have that feel good factor back and the feeling that like we probably are unstoppable at this point as long as we keep the injuries under wraps because, you know, that's been an issue and that's probably the only reason that we didn't beat City that day, and we probably should have because we had the talent to do it, but just because of the injuries we're struggling a bit. But now we're at that point where we've got a bit of momentum, we just need to keep going with it, and it should be okay going into this next block, which ends with City again at the end of November, which I think will be the true test of have we overcome that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we come to the league table and Rangers are top of the league with 31 points, 47 goal difference. Celtic Lions second with 45 goal difference, 30 points, so one behind. And Glasgow City have played one game less on 25. Nice ring to it, Wolf, isn't it? Top of the league, unbeaten.
Yeah, top of the league and unbeaten. It doesn't. I mean, it's good that it's top of the league unbeaten and only dropped 2 points because you can be unbeaten and having drawn 4 or 5 games. You know, as Carl says, we should probably have beaten Glasgow City that time we played them, but that's one of those things. You can't really ask for much more a quarter of the way into the season. Only dropping 2 points. That's, as we said earlier on, that's decent. We need to build on it. We need to move on from it. Hopefully, the players that are away in international duty all come back unscathed. You know, that's always my concern when they go away is that they get injured. Obviously, I don't think they'll all play because we've got 5 or 6 away with Scotland. There's no way they'll all play. It would be nice if they did, but I can't see it. Obviously, Rachel Rose away with Wales. We'll see what the injury situation's like there. I'm not sure if Vic's away with New Zealand. I don't know if they're playing. She'll probably be away as well. You know, hopefully the other one, the ones that aren't away, can have a break. I mean, most of them will be away because I imagine the younger players are away with the 19s or the 17s or whatever. I mean, that's the thing. We've got so many good young players that we've got first team starters going away with Scotland under 17s. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Really, if you think about it, when you say it out loud, that's absolutely ridiculous. You know, and as somebody commented earlier, as Paul commented earlier, can we not get any signed up in a 5-year deal? That would be nice. I'd make it a 15-year deal if I could. You It's inevitable that we're going to lose her, and we need to lose her for a good wage of cash. You know what I mean? Because she'll probably go to England, and there's lots of money down there. But let's not wish away our assets just at this moment in time.
No.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully, because that's the end of the first cycle of games, we should be going back to playing teams that, let's be honest, we should take care of relatively easily. So it's good time to utilise the squad. Bring the injured players back in slowly. It's not like we're going to have to bring the injured players back in to start them because we need to, because we're short of bodies and we're playing games that are going to be, against the sort of Celtic or Glasgow City, because we're not going to be facing them again until, as Carl says, I think it's the international weekend, men's international weekend. I think we've got City on the 17th, 18th of November, something like that.
It's the 19th.
19th.
I know it's the day after I do the sleep out at Ibrox. So, I know it's that international weekend. So I mean, that's again international weekend. There should be a good crowd at it because I know it's away. I know it's at Glasgow City. But people will be dying to get a game of football in, and it's at Petershill, decently set up at Petershill, so hopefully get a good crowd along to that. Just got to keep winning. End of the day, just got to keep winning, keep rattling in the goals. I mean, we said, last week when we played Hibs, we only got 7, that we could possibly have got more because the goal difference is going to be important. The way we're playing goal difference isn't going to be important, but until we know for a fact that it's not going to be, we still need to, keep rattling in as many as we can against the teams that we're supposed to take a few of.
Yeah. There's also, I was going to bring this up, but Paul's said it in the chat. Congratulations also to Chelsea Cornet for getting her call up to the national squad. I think, Laura, it's very well deserved. She's been a very important player for us recently. Always puts in a shift, never shirks a tackle. So it's a thoroughly deserved call up, isn't it?
Yeah, she's always been quite consistent for us, but I think she's really stepped up with obviously Sam Kerr leaving. She's kind of stepped up into that role, going forward a bit more and getting goals, and then kind of if any goes forward, she kind of sits back or whatever. So they've got a good wee partnership going in the middle of the park, but then she can play with everybody. So if Tess comes in, she can play with her. She's good with obviously the younger players in that as well. So she deserves it. She has obviously had her cap the Australia game she's played before, but obviously with her being injured, we had kind of thought it would be the next again round she would be called up, but obviously they're obviously need more midfielders up, so she's got called up again. So it's good that obviously Kathy and Kirsty Hibbett getting called up again. It's good to see. It's just good to see so many players getting recognised for the hard work that they're putting in with their club teams.
Yeah, and if the team at the top of the league can't get players into the Scotland team, there's something far wrong as far as I'm concerned. Carl, I'm going to take this one to you, play devil's advocate here. Could we see a Trevor Francis moment in Scottish football with the first £1 million transfer for a woman player? I take it he's referring to sort of the Kirsty McLean sort of player. Trevor Francis obviously was the first person in world football to command £1 million transfer. Is that something you can see happening anytime soon?
If I'm being realistic, I think if we manage to keep her for 5 years and get her on a 5-year deal and she keeps progressing the way she is, potentially in 5 years it could go for that. Once women's football kind of catches up a bit and England start paying crazy money for people. But realistically, it's probably not going to happen. But it's going to be anybody. It's going to be her, I think. She's currently, but you never know. Laura Berry might end up being that, might be Mia Macaulay. It could realistically be any of the young team, but I doubt it. The current climate of women's football, but I'd love it honestly because she absolutely deserves it. She deserves to go and win everything, win the Ballon d'Or, go and win the Champions League, go and win everything because she's that good.
Yeah, I think certainly as you said earlier, you're not wanting to sort of get rid of your players too soon, Wolf. But I mean, she, in my opinion, from what I've seen of her, she could play for anybody, couldn't she?
Yeah, I think she's a fabulous player. She really is. I mean, considering how young she is, she's got levels and levels to go. Hopefully that's not for a few years yet. Hopefully she's still with us for a few years yet. I mean, she's still got a lot of learning to do because she can overplay it at times. You know what I mean? The chance that she gave up yesterday, for example, she held on to the ball for too long. You know, trying to be too clever at times, I think. You know, because she knows how good she is and she's gallant with it. And that's great to see. But sometimes you just have to say, okay, I've beaten this player, I'll just get rid of the ball and I'll get past her. I don't need to beat her 3 times. You know? I just hope she can stay injury free. Look at Emma went down to Man United and then got a really bad knee injury. So, you know, hopefully we can stay clear of serious injury and stay with us for another 2 or 3 years. Let's not kid ourselves on. She is going to go on to huge things. The contract would be fantastic for her. You know, she'd be brilliant in somewhere like Spain or Germany or, you know, Italy, something like that. And that's where the money is really. You know. But let's, as I said earlier, let's not wish our assets away. Let's get this league one first, and then worry about who we're keeping and who we're not keeping.
Yes, totally agree. I suppose, Laura, you've both said it before, but we'll mention it again. The difference that Joe Potter has made to this team, I think it's clear to see. There's a definite sort of bit of guile in the midfield. That, you know, there's a high energy in there. The strikers are taking more risks like she wants. It feels as though the handbrake's off with the women, isn't it? It's, you know, they're not scared to take a chance now.
No, I think it's partly due to the fact that Joe's no longer retired as well, so she knows the kind of modern game. She knows how they're going to be feeling and kind of what they're going through and that. And I think she's still fairly young as well. She's kind of going to have that good relationship with them, but she also seems like you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side there. So they know kind of have that respect for her, the way she's played when she has played, but also that she is the manager at the end of the day, and they have that respect for her. So I think she just seems to have it all kind of figured out for such a young manager. Like this her first kind of manager job, because obviously she's been an assistant before, but she just seems to have taken it like a duck to water, because I don't think she would even have expected to come in and be doing this well already. And I think the team would kind of be the same. They would maybe have thought, oh, she's a bit inexperienced or whatever, but just for whatever reason, it's just working.
Yeah. And I suppose I'll ask all of you this question, but I'm still sort of humming and haying. Who was your man of the match, Car?
Rachel McLaughlin.
Woman of the match.
Oh, sorry. Player of the match, I was saying.
Player of the match, yes.
For me, it was Rachel McLaughlin. I think she was flying into everything. She was, you know, a rock going forward as well. She was just so good. And personally, for me, she said to me at the Hamilton game that she was keeping some in the tanks in a Celtic game, and that was 2 games away from the Hamilton game. And she stuck to her word. So for me, it was Rachel McLaughlin, because she's that good and she's so consistent with it. She's genuinely one of our most consistent players. I think Laura always said that she's like a 7 out of 10 all the time, and you can't beat that when she's that consistently good going forward and defensively. For me, it was Rachel McLaughlin.
Laura?
I think I'd say Kathy Hill, to be honest, other than that mistake at the goal, which it's just one of these things that happens with Caitlin Hayes and Celtic. But Kathy just seems to have come on leaps and bounds, because she's got that mask off. She's had her surgery in the summer, and she's just kicked on, and she's just so strong in that middle 3 at the back that she's just doing fantastic. And she's obviously got the confidence of getting a couple of goals, scoring at Ibrox, and she was right up for it again yesterday. And she's not got the armband anymore, but she was still leading by example the full game.
Yeah. Wolf, who was your player of the match?
Rachel McLaughlin for me as well. Carl summed it up absolutely perfect. I thought Rachel had a great game. Yeah, Rachel McLaughlin for me.
Yeah, 100%. So, folks, that's us. We will leave it there, but we will hopefully...
Now, Brian, come on. I told you to write something down about an hour ago, and you've forgotten, haven't you? Luckily, I wrote it down, because we had a question during the phone-in on the main show from Jim and Kirky, yes, about do we think that at any time in the future there will be a female manager of a major men's team? Now, I put it in our chat, and Laura came back with an answer almost straight away, and Laura's answer was...
Emma Hayes will be the first female manager of a men's team sometime in the near future. Heard it here first.
In which league do you think she will appear, though? Because she seemingly was taken, or sort of annoyed that a League One team offered her a job because she thought she deserved a higher level of club. Now, that's just her. That's her beliefs. That's what she believes. But where do you imagine Emma Hayes pitching up if she left Chelsea ladies?
Probably the Chelsea men. They go through managers.
We can't. It's been the burning question for a long time. Presenters. It took long enough for the women to get involved as far as presenting. Then it took long enough for them to get involved with punditry. It's almost like it's almost like a steamroller. It's always. I think it will get there. It's just the time it's taken to do that. And I suppose it takes gumption. It takes a bit of gumption from a chairman or a board to take the plunge and do it, doesn't it?
Yeah, not to be too philosophical, but I think the world has a little bit of catching up to do before that'll happen, just realistically from a fan's point of view, because I don't know that much about Chelsea, but I don't imagine if Emma Hayes became their manager that a lot of their fans would be overly happy with it, because a lot of men don't like female pundits at this point, never mind a female manager. So I think it'll take a long time before it catches up. But at the rate that Emma Hayes is going, she's going to win everything, and she's going to need a new test in the next 5 or so years to take that next step. And realistically, she can't really go any higher than she currently is, other than winning the Champions League. So realistically, that is the next step. But I think League One is a bit of an insult to Emma Hayes with all she's achieved and I think, was it Forest Green Rovers or whatever they were called, had an interim female manager, but that didn't work out too well. But I think that's just because that club wasn't very well run at that time, and maybe she wasn't the right fit for the job. But at least they tried. At least, they thought, well, we'll give this a go, but it just didn't work out for them. But the world's got a bit to catch up on yet before that'll happen.
Yeah, Blue Horizon, it's Shelley Kerr that you're thinking about, who has got a bit of pedigree. Brian, for me, to answer your question before you ask it to me, if it happens, the manager concerned has to be worthy of the job. It can't just be a box ticking exercise. Like you've just said there, it's taken a while for the women punditry and all that in football. Now, I think it's overkill because some of them aren't good enough for the job. They just put them in there to tick boxes in current society. It's just the way I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them are very, very good. See the ones that are very good, brilliant. There's some guys that shouldn't be in the punditry because they're absolutely hopeless, right? I mean, it seems to me though that some of the female pundits and some of the female commentators are there because the broadcaster wants to tick a box. Don't tick boxes, get people that can do the job. It doesn't matter whether they're male, female, they're British, they're foreign, they're whatever they are. If they're good enough to do the job, give them the job. So if a female manager is good enough to do the job, and they'll only find that out by giving them the job, and Emma Hayes is a prime example, I don't think it would be an insult to her to go League One because she'd need to prove herself. And if she is good enough, then she'll move up very, very quickly. It's like a lot of advice that's sometimes given to kids. Don't sign for the academy of Rangers or Celtic or Liverpool or Man United because you'll be really hard to get through. If you're as good as we think you are, go to a club a level below. And the big club will pick you up because you're as good as you're supposed to be. The manager for me should be the same. But they have to, you said when you asked the question that inevitably it'll happen. Inevitably it will happen, but it has to happen to somebody that's good enough. Because if not, there's going to be a female manager given a high profile job, she's going to crash and burn, and that'll set it back 10 years because they'll all go, that didn't work for them, we're not trying that. So maybe say like a Brentford or somebody decide to give Emma Hayes the job, for example, at that sort of level of team, and she does well. That's great for the evolution of women as managers in football, managers in male football teams. I mean, the problem then you'll have people saying, well, why can't you have mixed football teams? And that's not going to work because of physicality. You know what I mean? Because you know what society is like. People are going to go that way, and that can't work. But I don't see why if you can have men managing women's teams, why can't you have women managing men's teams?
Yep, it's a conundrum and it's a debate that will rumble on until it actually happens. Because as you said, Car, earlier, that Forest Green Rovers, I genuinely think they did that just as a pure publicity stunt. There was no intention of getting how the job was there.
No, I didn't seem like I didn't know that much about it, but it seemed like they were just at a point where they didn't have anybody lined up, and it was like, oh, we can make a bit of a name for ourselves here, like throw her in. The team was at a bit of a horrendous point. It seems like not that I knew much about them, but they were really struggling, so it's not great. But I think also like there's a lot of women's teams that have never had women's managers, female managers, sorry. So it's going to take a while for that to catch up. And realistically, that's where you start. You have female players that played the game, know a lot about it, then go into managing women's teams, and then they can pass on the trade to the younger generation. And then once we get to that point, they can potentially move up to men's whenever that happens. But we're not even at that point yet, where it's a lot of men that have potentially not been good enough for men's teams have then gone into the women's games thinking it'll be a bit easier this way. And it's not always turned out that way. If you look at Man United, for example, women's team, male manager doesn't really seem like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, look at us. Look at us. We've brought in a female manager, and she's doing better than any of the previous managers we've had. They've all been blokes. Well, not all been blokes, but the last 2 or 3. You know what I mean? So if they're good enough for the job, give them the job. I mean, simple. But they have to be good enough for the job.
Yeah, totally agree. No, if they've got the CV and they've got the coaching badges and they've got the experience, as you say, Wolf, give them the job, 100%.
And before we go, because we are just about to go, I know, because you try to wrap us up early. Blue Horizon, who I think is quite new to the party, welcome along. It's nice to have you. Was asking in the comments earlier what night we're on. We generally try to be on a Monday night. It's difficult sometimes with work schedules because people work shifts and things like that. But we do try and be on a Monday. Easiest thing to do is stick your notifications on YouTube for the Ramble, and you'll know every show that we do when we post shows, when we go live. We do try to do a Monday after the women have played. And if we don't do it live, we'll record something and stick it out the next day if we can. So just about housekeeping. I noticed that comment earlier. So
well spotted, sir. But we'll obviously be on. Of course, I was just about to say the next women's game is. I did have it up.
The 5th.
The 5th of November at home to Spartans. Yes.
Same days the League Cup semi-final. How's that for that good old scheduling again?
Marvellous, isn't it? So hopefully we will have on the 6th of November we'll be we'll record a show on the Monday and we'll go from there. But thank you again to Car, Laura and Wolf.
Thank you.
Much appreciated to everybody in the chat. Blue Horizon, welcome back anytime. Everybody else, the stalwarts that have been here since day one, thanks again for all you guys. Much appreciated. And again, we shall see you very, very soon. Paul's always here, exactly.
Paul's always here.
He's
Paul
always
and
here.
Alan.
Yeah. So we shall see you again very soon.